It's fantastic to have you here again on Just Nigeria, brought to you by the BBC and Channels Television. And here we bring you the gist of stories that matter to you. I am Wali Fakile. Recently, the news of Nigeria offsetting its $3.4 billion IMF loan tore through government offices to the streets. It was relief for an economy choking under soaring debt burden. But while government officials celebrate, many Nigerians wonder how the loan has impacted their lives and businesses. In this story, Just Nigeria's Ayuba Iliya scratches beyond the headlines to provide some answers. Have a look.
The board of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, approved the sum of $3.4 billion to support Nigeria's COVID-19 fight.
In 2020, Nigeria's economy faced a steep decline in government revenue as COVID-19 rattled the world. A $3.4 billion emergency loan from the IMF became a critical lifeline for the country.
For purposes that are including health, social development, as well as bridging the very significant revenue shortfall that we have.
It's now 5 years since that loan was issued.
Nigeria is able to exit the $3.4 billion COVID loan fund that was given by the IMF.
But is that the whole story? Headlines of Nigeria's repayment of the $3.4 billion IMF COVID-19 loan may seem reassuring, but beneath lies unanswered questions. The IMF says Nigeria is expected to pay additional payments of $30 million or 47.6 billion naira annually as interest on that loan over the next 4 years.
Unfortunately, the way we manage it ends up putting the country under significant stress. We're not transparent about it, we're not accountable about it, our objectives are not often very clear, and therefore we have this kind of problem.
To the best of my knowledge, there is no reports actually breaking it down beyond, budget support, setting up isolation centers. We don't even know if these IMF loans were used to set up isolation centers.
Government's repayment of the IMF loan is a major milestone, but how the money was utilized remains unclear. A 2020 audit report from the Auditor General's office highlighted several irregularities, a concern average Nigerians see as more important than the repayment itself.
Like me now, I don't know what they use the money for.
I don't see anything that they do.
Nigeria's debt conversation is often complex and tangled in technical jargon. For transparency advocates, lending without accountability is a ticking time bomb for the economy.
In its reports, the same government says that this money cannot be accounted for. Yet we have rushed allegedly to pay this 3.4 billion.
Why is the government not telling us who benefited from it and what impact this has on the economy and even directly on the people who suffered and survived during this crisis?
I think we should desist from stating in like a daisical manner as if it was easy for a government to just take a loan and then the money gets shared or something, or people just pocket the loan. No. So the institutions are there to ensure that this is not so.
So, what is Nigeria's total debt stock and how sustainable is it for the future? The Nigerian government has over the years borrowed over 144 trillion naira on behalf of its citizens. If divided among, for instance, 200 million Nigerians, it means that each Nigerian will owe roughly around 720,000 naira. So how do Nigerians feel about the country's debt profile?
The money I no chop, good in my head.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Nobody will feel happy, particularly when the borrowing or the debts has no any significant impact on our life.
To better understand Nigeria's current debt situation, here's what we know. In less than 2 years, Nigeria's public debt jumped from 87 trillion naira in mid-2023 to 144 trillion naira by the end of 2024, a 65% increase. So who exactly are we owing? Nigeria's debt comes from two major sources, foreign and local. Abroad, we owe international lenders like the World Bank, the African Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and countries like China, France, Japan, India, and Germany, making up 72.7 trillion naira or $45.75 billion as external loans. Domestically, the government borrows money by asking people and businesses to lend it cash in exchange for promises to pay back later with interest. These promises are financial instruments like treasury bills, bonds, and IOUs, and they now add up to about 70.4 trillion naira. But how did Nigeria's debt increase by 65% in less than 2 years?
If I was owing you $1 today and my naira is at 400, I say I'm owing you 400 naira. The moment naira goes to 1,005, I'm now owing you 1,005, whether or not.
As of June 2024, the Budget Implementation Report reported that Nigeria spent 3.8 trillion naira on servicing external debts. You're spending more because obviously exchange rate is high, obviously you earn in naira.
We went through oil boom, and then the oil boom dropped, and then we begin to experience a dip in our resources, and therefore within those periods our revenue dropped.
High debt isn't just numbers in a financial document. They impact government priorities with direct impact on everyone. Government says money saved from removing fuel subsidy in 2023 has helped reduce how much of its revenue goes into debt payments from 97% to about 80%. But experts warn that without spending wisely, those gains could disappear.
Nigeria's debt sustainability for now is pretty much assured. You know that our total debt to GDP is about 54% right now.
Debt to GDP ratio does not tell you the real story about your debt. I think debt to revenue ratio is much important. So even if you look at it as an individual, as a person, to say your income, over 80% of whatever income you make, you use it to settle debt, you just know that you have a problem.
A closer look at the 2025 budget shows budgetary allocation for health, education and security combined is still less than what's budgeted to pay off debt for the year.
Nigeria hosted African Union leaders and agree and committed to at least 15% of our national budget to the health sector. All these today are not being complied with.
Well, literally our survival is on oil and gas and debt. This is not sustainable for an emerging economy like Nigeria.
For most of Nigeria's over 200 million people, government borrowing only makes sense if it leads to better living conditions and real economic relief.
If I sick, I do go to hospital and I will pay. Before you pay less, but now I will tell you that things is higher.
My company just closed down in February, and the reason why they closed down was that the policy of the government of the day has affected them.
Things are very, very difficult. Transportation is high.
With a fragile economy and a swelling debt burden, experts say the real challenge for Nigeria is to demonstrate fiscal discipline, curb corruption, and be innovative in revenue generation.
There's a lot of spending that's not required going on. And spending is not by everyday Nigerians, it's by the government.
So we need to change this mindset of bogus budgets. And we need to make sure that wasteful spending, duplication, and eliminate corruption in the budget system.
If we keep the cost gulping structure and system that we have at the moment, then our revenue, which is just 13% of our GDP, is not able to sustain that. And when it's not able to sustain that, then we have to continue to borrow to run the government.
We are not just all about borrowing money. We're very aware of the dangers. We are very much into value addition and ensuring that whatever it is we're borrowing actually generates its own cash flow.
With a current budget deficit of 18.64 trillion naira experts project Nigeria's total debt could rise to 187 trillion naira by the end of 2025. They insist that to ensure real growth, government borrowing must translate into real and meaningful development for the Nigerian economy. Ayuba, Iliya, Gist, Nigeria.